Okay, here we are, live once again. As usual, if you're tuning in, watching this later when it's not live, just look at the description and I'll put a link to the timestamp when the questions start so you can avoid all this waffle. But in the meantime, I'm going to spam the link around everywhere. So I'll be starting in a few minutes as usual. So, yep, starting in a few minutes. Feel free to grab a drink. Can't I find the thing I need to post the thing on? Where's it gone? It's over here. Why is that here? Okay, here we go. Okay. Spamming the link around on the channel. More link spam starting in a few minutes. And is that the event? Where can I post on the event? It's the event. How do I post on that event? Okay, cool. All right, let me see what's happening on YouTube. Where is it? Oh, lost YouTube. Where's it gone? There it is. Okay. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I'll drag my windows around as usual. Put this one over here. In case anybody needs the link. Okay. Cool. All right, give it a couple more minutes. Usually start, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes after the half hour. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? Yes? My little blue microphone light is on, which is a good sign. I guess you probably would have told me by now if you couldn't hear me. Okay. All right, starting soon. Just post the link in a few more places. A few more people on board. I'm going to grab a drink in the meantime. I'm currently drinking this Spanish liqueur, which is a favorite of mine. Cointreau y Tres, it's called. I'm being contacted by people, but unrelated things. Okay. Yep, all good, says Pirate. Can you hear me okay? Simone, hello. All right. Let's get started pretty soon. Where was the one last place I tend to spam things? What is that over here? Okay, cool. Evening all. Evening, Davey. All right. Do I need to give the same blurb as always? Why not? If you haven't played before, my name's James. What I would normally do on a Tuesday night is go to the pub, play trivia, or host a trivia night. Can't do that due to COVID, although I did go to the pub on the weekend. It was very nice. Hey, Narelle and Stephen. So I'm just doing it here on YouTube Live and Facebook. Not very original, but seems to be good fun. Yep, so we're going to have the usual 3 rounds. The first round will be 20 questions of relatively easy, not super easy, but relatively easy questions, and then the answers. And then we'll have round 2, which is less easy questions, and then I'll give you the answers. And then we'll have round 3, which is our quite difficult / silly round. And then you'll get the answers to those. And then we'll have a Who Am I question that you can use as a tiebreaker if you want. And then we'll have the answer to last week's special challenge, which was so last week's special challenge, if you have got an answer, resist the urge to post spoilers in the comments, please. But the challenge from last week was, which English word has 3 consecutive pairs of double letters? So you might have A, B, B, C, C in a row in the word. If you can think of a word that has 3 consecutive pairs of double letters, maybe not even the same word I'm thinking of. Anyway, I'll give you an answer to that at the end of tonight. Okay, few messages popping around in Facebook. David Jones says, any idea when your real trivia will resume? No, because of even though the pub is reopening, there's still the spacing problem, and it's not a very big room, and it's tricky to do when you can't, you got to be 4 meters from each other or whatever. So, don't know. I think it's probably not going to be too many more weeks, because I think things are getting back to normal, and more importantly, hockey is going to be starting up again soon, and that's going to start chewing into my evenings. But for the meantime, keep going. I'll let you know in advance anyway before I do the last week. But in the meantime, with no further ado, let's get started with round 1. All right, so round 1, question 1. Who is the only Australian Prime Minister to have a Z in their name? So I guess you'd have to say former or current. So who's the only former or current Australian Prime Minister who had the letter Z or Z for zebra in their name? Question 2. Which is the only planet in our solar system with the letter C for cat in its name? It's not Zoni Tabet. All right, question 3. Who is the only current or former American president with the letter X in their name? Can you spot the theme? No, I'm not going to do 20 questions in this in this style. All right. Question 4. Where in the body is the thyroid gland? THYROID. Where in the body is the thyroid gland, which I think regulates growth? Possibly has something to do with hormones related to our endocrinologist question from last week. But anyway, where in the body is the thyroid gland? Just the rough location is fine. It's only round 1. All right. Question 5. Which river is the main tributary of Sydney Harbour? Which river is the main tributary of Sydney Harbour? Elated Matt says, my mum had half her thyroid taken out. I'm assuming that's not good. Or maybe she had too much thyroid. I don't know. So yeah, question 5. Sydney Harbour is one of the largest natural harbours in the world. It's fed by a few rivers, but there's one major river that feeds it. Which river is the main tributary of Sydney Harbour? What effect did that have on her? Oh, it was overactive, says Matt. Okay, so she needed less thyroid than she'd been issued. Good. Question 6. Which motorcycle manufacturer produces the Ninja range? Ninja. Which motorcycle manufacturer produces the Ninja range? And Ninjas come in everything from like 125 right up to, I think they do a 1300. Right, question 7. In the body, leukocytes, 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 are more commonly called what? Question 7. In the body, leukocytes are more commonly called what? Is this what I was drinking last week? Maybe it was Cointreau last week. Same glass, same pleasant tinkly sound of ice. Question 8. Into which area of the moon did the first manned landing take place? Question 8. What was the name of the particular region of the moon where the first manned landing took place? No, it wasn't a soundstage in Utah directed by Stanley Kubrick. It was actually on the moon, and there's a particular spot of the moon where they landed. What's that spot called? Question 9. The race meeting at Ascot is known for its flamboyant displays of which fashion item? Question 9. The race meeting at Ascot is known for its flamboyant displays of which fashion item? That's a spoiler for Dave. For Davy Jones, the moon landing was real. And I'm going to do another one. Not too long, I think. Is it 2024? Elon Musk is planning to land people on the moon, and he'll probably do it because he's that kind of guy. What are we up to? Question 10. What's the name of the enigmatic tame racing driver on the BBC's Top Gear? Question 10. What is the name of the enigmatic tame racing driver on the BBC's Top Gear? Pierrot says, can we leave Scott Morrison on the moon? I'm sure if you started a GoFundMe, you'd be surprised. He'd get his ticket paid for. Question 11. What is the more common name for a polygraph machine? Question 11. What is the more common name for a polygraph machine? Okay, strange things are afoot on Facebook. Question 12. Who is the voice behind Woody, the cowboy doll in Toy Story? Question 12. Who plays the voice of Woody, the cowboy doll in Toy Story? If you're just tuning in, we're a bit over halfway through round 1, which we'll finish that, and then I'll give you the answers, and then we'll start round 2. If you do want to be informed of future events, go to the Facebook page, Virtual Aussie Pub Quiz, and like or subscribe or whatever, and you'll be informed of future events. All right, question 13. Which actress played Doctor Who in the most recent season of the long-running TV series? Question 13. She the 13th Doctor? Have I coincidentally done that? Anyway, which actress played Doctor Who in the most recent season of the long-running TV series? Yes, Parrot. She's the 13th. Well, what a coincidence. Question 14. In chemistry, NaCl is more commonly known as what? In chemistry, NaCl, so that's big N, small a, big C, small l, is more commonly known as what? You can give me the chemical name if you like, but I'm looking for the common name of that substance. I think if you know the proper chemical name, you probably also know the common name. Question 15. What is the name of the small armed force, as in there's not very many of them, not they have unusually short arms. Question 15. What is the name of the small armed force responsible for the safety of the Pope? Question 15. What is the name of the small armed force responsible for the safety of the Pope? That's true, Pierrot. And did you know, Pierrot, everybody who ate an apple in 1850 is dead? Question 16. The Four Seasons is perhaps the best known work of which Baroque composer? Question 16. The Four Seasons is perhaps the best known work of which Baroque composer? Question 17. Ursine, U-R-S-I-N-E, refers to what kind of animals? Ursine, U-R-S-I-N-E, refers to what kind of animals? So if I said canine, you would think dogs. Feline, you would think cats. But what is ursine, U-R-S-I-N-E? Okay. Baroque composer, the rock composer. Very good. I like it. Question 18. Tom Yorke, T-H-O-M space Y-O-R-K-E. It's kind of like too many letters in both of those names. Tom Yorke is the lead singer and songwriter of which band? Pierrot says, I know the answer to this because of video games. I'm assuming that's Ursine you know the answer to. So question 18 was, Tom Yorke is the lead singer and songwriter of which band? T-H-O-M space Y-O-R-K-E. Question 19. Which Australian native animal's population has been devastated by facial tumour disease? Question 19. Which Australian native animal's population has been devastated by facial tumour disease? Peter says, if it's not Baroque, don't fix it. Very good. I do love a good dad joke. Question 20, the last question of round one. How many years passed between the first flight of the Wright brothers and the first manned lunar landing? So question 20, how many years elapsed between the first flight of the Wright brothers and the first manned lunar landing? So the trick is to know both those dates and simple maths. All right, I'll give you a minute to think about those. If I dropped out or anything, you can ask me to repeat some or clarify them, I guess. I'll give you lovely tinkly ice noises, which you can possibly hear. Sometimes I think I drink Cointreau and the similar sort of drinks just for that sound. Norel says, question 2, repeated please. Question 2 was, which is the only planet in our solar system with the letter C for cat in its name? Okay, let's go through the answers to round one. So you've probably figured out by now, you don't have to type the answers into chat. In fact, we prefer it if you don't. You're just playing against yourself or against your friends if you've organized that in advance. Cointreau is the bomb, says Norel. Question for you, Norel. Have you tried their limited edition Blood Orange Cointreau? It is amazing. All right. Question 1. Here's the answers to round 1. So the answer to question 1, the only Australian Prime Minister to have a Z for zebra in their name is Robert Menzies. Pierrot asks what Cointreau is made from. Cointreau is a liqueur made from the rind of bitter oranges. Very specific. If you drink it at room temperature, it's kind of a little bit unpleasant. But if you put it on ice and you wait till it cools to the point where it becomes a little bit cloudy, that makes it all sweeten up and it's beautiful. Top drinking tips. Okay, question 2. So the answer to question 1 was Robert Menzies. Question 2 is, what is the only planet in our solar system with the letter C in its name? That is, of course, Mercury. Pierrot says, why not refrigerate it? Because then I'd be the kind of person who keeps spirits in their fridge. And I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. Question 3. Who is the only American president with the letter X in their name? That is, of course, Richard Nixon. Davy Jones loves his Cointreau straight. It's nice, but I prefer it a little cool. What are we up to? Question 4. Where in the body is the thyroid gland? That is in your neck or your throat. Question 5. Which river is the main tributary of Sydney Harbour? That is the Parramatta River. You can even get a ferry or a river cat or whatever they are, and you can go from the harbour up the river all the way to Parramatta. Don't know, maybe. Anyway, that's the major river. There are other rivers, but the main one is the Parramatta River. What about Cointreau in your freezer? I think you run the risk of it separating and going a bit weird. I've never tried it. It's a good way to tell bad vodka, by the way. If you put it in your fridge and if you put it in your freezer and it freezes, it's not very good. Question 6 was, which motorcycle manufacturer produces the Ninja range? The answer is Kawasaki. It's a Kawasaki Ninja. Question 7. In the body, leukocytes are more commonly called what? They are your white blood cells. That's right. Norel says if you put your Cointreau in the freezer, you have to leave out the vodka. All right, actually vodka. Some vodka at room temperature is very nice. And if you really want to come across as a complete vodka jerk, drink it at room temperature with a little bit of cracked black pepper in it that sinks down to the bottom, because that's how they drink it when they home distill it in like Poland and Russia, because the pepper being organic, the methanol sticks to the pepper and sinks to the bottom, and that way you drink all of the vodka except for the bottom bit, and that way you don't go blind, crazy, and dead from drinking the methanol from your badly made vodka. But yeah, that's not it's not really a thing if you're drinking commercial vodka. Right, this is taking a very long time. Question 7 was leukocytes are white blood cells. Question 8, into which area of the moon did the first manned landing take place? That is the Sea of Tranquility. I will accept Tranquility Base, because they did say when they landed, Tranquility Base here, the Eagle has landed. But yeah, the feature of the moon was the Sea of Tranquility. Do you activate the black pepper first? I don't know. You just grind it with a grinder. Question 9 was, the race meeting at Ascot is known for its flamboyant displays of which fashion item? The answer is hats. I mean, probably other things as well, but it's particularly known for giant, crazy hats. Question 10 was, what is the name of the enigmatic tame racing driver on the BBC's Top Gear? The answer is The Stig, S-T-I-G, The Stig. Or if you were being too literal and you remember the name of the racing driver who was revealed as being the Stig, what was his name? Matthew Collins or something? If you happen to get that right, then you can have a point for that, but I meant the Stig. Fascinators. Fascinators are tiny little pointless hats. Question 11. What's the more common name for a polygraph machine? That is a lie detector. No, Captain Slow is the name of James May. He's not the tame racing driver. Question 12. Who was the voice behind Woody? That was Tom Hanks. Question 13, which actress played Doctor Who in the most recent season? That is Jodie Whittaker. Bit of a fan of Jodie Whittaker. She went from a very serious role in Broadchurch to a sort of swashbuckling fun role in Doctor Who. Very well. Question 14, in chemistry, NaCl is more commonly known, well, Na is sodium and Cl is chlorine, so it's sodium chloride, which of course is table salt. So the answer is table salt, or sodium chloride if you want. Question 15, what is the name of the small armed force responsible for the safety of the Pope? They are, for reasons known only to themselves, the Swiss Guard. They're not in Switzerland, neither is the Pope, but anyway, they're called the Swiss Guard. Question 16, The Four Seasons is the best known work of which Baroque composer? That is Antonio Vivaldi. Question 17, ursine refers to what kind of animals? That is bears. Big hairy things, bears. Question 18, Tom York is the lead singer and songwriter of Radiohead. Question 19, which Australian native animals population has been devastated by facial tumour disease? That is Tasmanian devils. And question 20 was, how many years have elapsed between the first flight of the Wright brothers and the first manned lunar landing? Well, I think most people know that the first manned lunar landing was in July 1969. The first flight of the Wright brothers was December 1903. So that is 65 years and 7 months. If you rounded it up to 66 years, that's okay. It's only round one. You can have the point. Matt says, bonus fact, Radiohead is named after a Talking Heads song. I did know that, but I don't actually know the song, but I did know the fact. As quite often happens with facts with me. I know the facts, but I don't know why. Okay, how did you go on that? That's the end of round one. Let me know how you went. Peter got 18. That's pretty good. Not too tricky. First round, apparently. 10 for Pierrot, which is that a personal best, Pierrot? 18 for Elated Matt. Not being mean, genuine question. 14 from Simone. 13 from Davey. Pierrot says consistently bad. Well, you got half the questions right, and you're playing on your own, I think. So that's pretty good. 13.5 was your personal best. Okay, well, 10's not too bad. Okay, let's push on, inevitably, to round two. All right, question 1 of round 2. What was the name of the ship Captain Cook commanded on his first voyage of discovery to Australia and New Zealand? Narelle got 18 out of 20. Stephen got 15 out of 20 and a few eye rolls from the teenager. It's tough to write quiz questions for teenagers when you're not yourself a teenager. So question 1 of round 2 was, what was the name of the ship that Captain Cook commanded on his first voyage of discovery to Australia and New Zealand? It's not a trick question. It's the big one. It's the main one. It's the one everyone knows. Question 2. What is the literal translation into English of the German word Volkswagen? Question 2. What is the literal translation into English of the German word Volkswagen, or Volkswagen, if you want to be mispronouncing it? Volkswagen. Question 3. What name is given to the longest side of a right-angle triangle? Question 3 was, what name is given to the longest side of a right-angled triangle? Has a particular mathematical or geometric name, I guess. Question 4, slightly tricky one. What word is used for the formal headdress worn by a bishop and a joint created by two angled pieces of timber. Question 4. Which word is used for the formal headdress worn by a bishop and for a joint created by two angled pieces of timber? No, I'm worried. I know there's a teenager out there somewhere rolling their eyes at me, instead of just the one that lives in my house. Okay, question 5. Which variety of grape shares its name with the capital of Oman? Or Oman? So question 5, which variety of grape shares its name with the capital of Oman? That country is Oman. What's the capital of that country which shares its name with a variety of grape? Eye rolling at Dad. That's okay then. Question 6. Where would you find the Resolute desk? Question 6. Where would you find the Resolute desk? Resolute, the Resolute desk. I guess resolute means sort of uncompromising or determined. So question 6, where would you find the Resolute desk? Question 7. What is the lowest register bowed string instrument? So what is the bowed string instrument, as in it has strings and you play it with a bow? Which one produces the lowest sounds? So which is the lowest register bowed string instrument? Pierrot says he guessed 2 of them, so technically 8 right. No, if you guessed them and you got them right, they're still right. You still get the points. Question 9. Nope. Let's try question 8. What is the name of the tower block in West London consumed by fire on the 13th of June 2017? Just past the 3-year anniversary of that particular tragedy. So question 8, what is the name of the tower block in West London consumed by fire on the 14th of June 2017? It's really interesting to read the decisions that were made about the fire cladding on that building. Question 9, which actress who went on to bigger things played Nina Tucker on Neighbours? Question 9, which actress who went on to bigger things played Nina Tucker on Neighbours? Take a little break in the middle of the round, have a little drink. Do a little bit of Facebook housekeeping. Pretty quiet on Facebook this evening, it seems. Alrighty. It's sad that you know that, says Narelle. Well, sad that she knows that. Well, you know, Neighbours, it's a popular TV show. Question 10. The statue of the Little Mermaid in Copenhagen is a tribute to which author? You know that, but you never watched Neighbours. Wow. Even I admit to having watched Neighbours long ago. So question 10, the statue of the Little Mermaid in Copenhagen is a tribute to which author? It's one of the most visited things in Copenhagen, apparently. Question 11, bauxite ore, B-A-U-X-I-T-E, bauxite ore is the chief source of which metal? Question 11, bauxite ore is the chief source of which metal? Pierrot says he's never watched Neighbours as well. Well, I haven't watched it in probably 30 years, so fair enough. As far as I can tell, it's pretty much still the same people doing the same stuff. Question 12. Who is Hollywood actress Kate Hudson's famous mum? Question 12. Who is the famous mum of Hollywood actress Kate Hudson? Question 13. Which Australian driver has won 3 F1 World Championships? Question 13. Which Australian driver has won 3 Formula One World Championships? Right. Question 14. Who is the current president of France? Question 14. Who is the current president of France? Simone says, I cannot, though, understand the appeal of Kate Hudson. Fair enough. I don't have a lot to say about that. Question 14 was, who is the current president of France? 15, what was the name of the Soviet space station launched in 1986? And for a bonus point, what does its name mean in English? Question 15, what was the name of the Soviet space station launched in 1986? At the time, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest thing ever put in orbit, although the International Space Station probably dwarfs it now. Question 15, what was the name of the Soviet space station launched in 1986? And for a bonus point, what does its name mean in English? Question 16, which 2 countries make up most of the Iberian Peninsula? That's Iberian, I-B-E-R-I-A-N. Which 2 countries make up most of the Iberian Peninsula? I think you can have half a point each for those, getting them right. So there's a few little fiddly bits, but it's mostly divided between 2 countries. Question 16, which 2 countries make up most of the Iberian Peninsula? Question 17, we're racing through round 2. The Large Hadron Collider, the largest scientific instrument in history, is underground near which city? Question 17, the Large Hadron Collider, the largest scientific instrument in history, is underground near which city? Very nearly pulled the network cable out of my laptop, which probably wouldn't have been good. Okay, question 18, getting towards the end of round 2. Which poker hand is better than 4 of a kind, but not as good as a royal flush? Question 18, which poker hand is better than 4 of a kind, but not as good as a royal flush? So it will beat 4 of a kind, but it won't beat a royal flush. What is it? Question 19. Which artist progressed through a blue period, a rose period, and an African-influenced period? Question 19. Which artist progressed through a blue period, a rose period, and an African-influenced period? Davy Jones says 5 of a kind, question mark. Well, I would encourage you to consider the question 18, which was, which poker hand is better than 4 of a kind, but not as good as a royal flush? Does your answer tick both those boxes? Question 19 was, which artists progressed through a blue period, rose period, and African influenced period? And question 20, the last question of round 2, hasn't been too American centric this week, but this one is. So for half a point each, name the 4 US presidents portrayed on Mount Rushmore. And for a bonus point, so that's a total of 3 points possible for this question, list them in correct order from left to right as you view the monument from the front. So question 20, for half a point each, name the 4 US presidents portrayed on Mount Rushmore. For a bonus point, list them in correct order from left to right as you view the monument from the front. There's a reason I don't play poker, says Davey. All right, that's the end of round 2. Slightly more tricky. I'll give you a couple, well, I don't know about a couple of minutes. I'll give you a minute or so to think about those. If you need any repeated, let me know. I know the sound sometimes drops out. The vagaries of the internet being what they are. Okay, let's start going through the answers to round 2. See if you do better than you did in round 1. Okay, so round 2, question 1 was, what was the name of the ship Captain Cook commanded on his first voyage of discovery to Australia and New Zealand? That was the HMS Endeavour, also called the HMS Bark Endeavour. Or just the Bark Endeavour would be fine. I think as long as you had the word Endeavour, you're okay there. Question 2 was, what is the literal translation into English of the German word Volkswagen? That is people's car. Volks as in the word folks, people's, and Wagen as in wagon, car, people's car. Thanks, Hitler. Sorry. Question 3, which name is given to the longest side of a right-angled triangle? That is the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse, hypotenuse. And there's a formula, I think the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the square of the opposite two sides. Vaguely remembered. Anyway, it's definitely called hypotenuse. Question 4 was, which word is used for the formal headdress worn by a bishop and a joint created by 2 angled pieces of timber? Both those things are called mitre. M-I-T-R-E. M-I-T-R-E. It's a mitre. It's a bishop's hat, and it's also, when you say cut 2 45 degree pieces of timber and you join them together, that's called a mitre joint, and the saw you use for that is called a mitre saw. So the answer is mitre. Question 5, which variety of grape shares its name with the capital of Oman? That is Muscat. M-U-S-C-A-T, Muscat. What do you call a joint created by a bishop? I don't know. Depends on the type of joint, I guess. Question 5 was Muscat. Question 6, where would you find the Resolute desk? It is in the Oval Office of the White House. If you said the White House or the Oval Office, that'll do. It's where the president sits and signs all those important pieces of paper and posts all those ridiculous tweets. Still working on the punchline, says a legend Matt. Question 7, what is the lowest register bowed string instrument? That is a double bass, but I will also accept an octo bass. It is not a bass played by an octopus. It is an extremely large and rare bowed string instrument, which you don't really see anymore, but they do exist. But generally, you would say a double bass. If you happen to play an octo bass, send me an MP3. Question 8. What is the name of the tower block in West London consumed by fire 3 years ago this week? That is Grenfell Tower, Grenfell Tower. Grenfell is also a town in New South Wales. Is an octo base 4 times as big as a double base? I'm going to say yes. The picture on the wiki page makes it look very large, unless that's an unusually small man. Okay, so the answer to 8 was Grenfell Tower, Grenfell Tower. Question 9, which actress who went on to bigger things played Nina Tucker on Neighbours? That is Delta Goodrem. I know she's an actress and singer. If I'd said actress and singer, it would have been a dead giveaway. And she was an actress when she was acting on Neighbours, so the answer is Delta Goodrem. Question 10, the statue of the Little Mermaid in Copenhagen is a tribute to Hans Christian Andersen, who presumably wrote The Little Mermaid. Question 11, bauxite ore is the chief source of which metal? Aluminum or aluminium. The Americans did discover aluminium, so they're allowed to call it what they like, but we tend to call it aluminium. Question 12, who is Hollywood actress Kate Hudson's famous mum? Her mum is Goldie Hawn. And Kate considers Kurt Russell her dad, although he's not her biological father. Question 13, which Australian has won 3 Formula One World Championships? That is Sir John Jack Brabham. It was a while ago, but yes, he's an Australian driver. He won the 1959, 1960, and 1966 World Championships as a driver. And when he won the 1966 World Championship, he was driving a car that he made. He's the only person in history to win the World Championship driving his own car. Okay, question 14. Who is the current president of France? That is Emmanuel Macron, Macron. If you just said Macron, that's fine. Simone says, yes, he wrote it, as in Hans Christian Andersen. Question 15, what was the name of the Soviet space station launched in 1986? That was Mir, M-I-R. That was 1 point. And for a bonus point, what does its name mean in English? Curiously, it means either peace or world. I guess in Russian, those two words are very similar, maybe. Anyway, so the answer is Mir, M-I-R. And for a bonus point, if you said peace or world, I think most people think it's peace, you can have a bonus point. And question 16 was, which 2 countries make up most of the Iberian Peninsula? That's the bit that sticks out to the west of Europe. It is Spain and Portugal. There's also Andorra, Gibraltar, and a little tiny bit of France, but it's mostly Spain and Portugal. Okay, question 17 was, the Large Hadron Collider is underground near which city? It's underground near Geneva. It's a loop, 27 kilometers long, as much as 175 meters underground, and it is near the city of Geneva. Question 18, we had some concerns in the comments about this question. Which poker hand is better than 4 of a kind, but not as good as a royal flush? If you have wild cards, you could have 5 of a kind, but 5 of a kind would beat a royal flush, so it's not the correct answer. The correct answer is a straight flush. So just so we're all on the same page, a flush is when you have a bunch of cards and they're all in the same suit, but not in order. A straight is when you have a bunch of cards all in order, but not the same suit. A straight flush is when you have the cards all of the same suit and all in the same order. And a royal flush is when you have that and the highest card in that run of cards is an ace. So it's a very long way of saying the answer to that question is a straight flush. Not just a flush, that's a different thing. And not 5 of a kind, because that would beat a royal flush. It's round 2. You've got to be specific. All right, question 19. Which artist went through all those periods? That was, well, his real name was Pablo, Diego, Jose, Francisco de Paula, Juan Nepomuceno, Maria de los Remedios, Cipriano de la Santísima Trinidad Ruiz y Picasso, more commonly known as Picasso. And no, I did not know that his name was going to be that long. So answer to question 19 was Picasso. And question 20, for half a point each, name the 4 US presidents portrayed on Mount Rushmore. And for a bonus point, list them in correct order left to right as you view the monument from the front. So to get all 3 points, you need to have, in this order, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. Okay, let me know how you went in that round. My voice is going a bit croaky, so I'm going to take a quick break and have a drink. Let me know how you got. 6.5 from Pureit. That's pretty good. I think that's double what you got last week in this round. I think the drink's not doing it for me. I might have to switch to water. 16.5 from Matt. That's pretty good. 13 again from Davy Jones. 15.5 for Simone. Pretty good. Oops. Excuse me. Throat's a little bit tickly. Peter got 21 in round 2. Wow, that's pretty good. I never bother working out what the maximum possible score is for these rounds, but 21's got to be close to the theoretical maximum. I guess there were 3 points in the last question, and there was a bonus question in question 15. So I think you only got 2 points you dropped there. It's pretty good. Okay, now let's move on to round 3. So this one, as you know, round 3 is generally fairly difficult. I don't think it's too difficult this week. There's not really any crazy impossible questions as there sometimes are. So, okay, round 3, question 1. The March of the Volunteers is the name in English of the national anthem of which country? Excuse me. The March of the Volunteers is the name in English of the national anthem of which country? If you listen carefully, you can hear me Googling that my answer is correct. Question 2. Who is the only person to achieve a golden slam in tennis? That is, winning all 4 Grand Slam single titles and an Olympic gold medal in the same calendar year. The Kings, Narelle got 17 and Stevens 16, so Narelle's still leading. So question 1 was the March of the Volunteers is the name in English of the national anthem of which country? Question 2 is, who is the only person to achieve a golden slam in tennis? And a golden slam is winning all 4 Grand Slam singles titles and an Olympic gold medal in the same calendar year. Only one person's ever done it. Question 3. Who or what was the subject of an iconic photograph taken by Dr. Robert Wilson on the 21st of April, 1934? All right, that one may be a bit tricky. Question 3. Who or what was the subject of an iconic photograph taken by Dr. Robert Wilson on the 21st of April, 1934? Interestingly, Dr. Robert Wilson, wasn't that the name of the sort of sidekick of Dr. House in the TV show with Hugh Laurie? I'm sure his buddy was Robert Wilson. Interesting. Anyway. So, yes, question 4. The New South Wales town of Tarcutta, Tarcutta, hosts the National Memorial for which profession? And for a bonus point, why is it located there? So question 4, the New South Wales town of Tarcutta hosts the National Memorial for which profession? And for a bonus point, why is it located there? Question 5, which breed of chicken is considered the honorary national chicken breed of Australia, even featuring on postage stamps? Question 5 was, which breed of chicken is considered the honorary national chicken breed of Australia, even featuring on postage stamps? Question 6, which is the largest Australian state or territory by area? Question 6, which is the largest Australian state or territory by area? Question 7, the element with atomic number 99 is named after a great scientist, but not the one who discovered it. What is the name of this element? Question 7, the element with atomic number 99 is named after a great scientist, but not the one who discovered it. What is the name of this element? Okay, question 8, as we near the end of round 3. Question 8, the New Hebrides, Hebrides, Hebrides is how it's spelled. The New Hebrides was the colonial name for an island group in the South Pacific, now called what? So question 8, the New Hebrides was the colonial name for an island group in the South Pacific, now called what? Question 9, an earthquake that measures 8 on the Richter scale is how much more powerful than one that measures 4, using the most common local magnitude Richter scale? So the Richter scale is not as simple as it sounds. There's a lot of complicated maths to do with how far away it is and how far underground, all that kind of stuff. But the one they use when they're talking about it on the news, for example, is the simple local magnitude. So let's just stick to that one. That's the easiest one. So an earthquake that measures 8 on the Richter scale is how much more powerful than one that measures 4 on the Richter scale? So is it twice as powerful, a million times as powerful? What? And question 10, last question for round 3. What the heck? Let's have 1 point each. Which 3 actors or actresses appeared in every episode of the TV show Cheers? Question 10. Which 3 actors or actresses appeared in every episode of the TV show Cheers? Cheers. You remember that one? It was based at a bar. One of them is pretty easy. The other 2 less so. And because it's round 3, I do want the names of the actors or actresses, not necessarily the characters. Okay, I'll give you a few seconds to think about those. A couple of tricky ones in there. I think it's generally an easy-ish round 3, though, considering there have been some completely impossible ones. Nothing too silly, except for maybe the honorary national chicken breed. Don't know how that works. Who's in charge of choosing the honorary national chicken breed? Anyway, let's go through the answers to round 3. Question 1 was, the March of the Volunteers is the name in English of the national anthem of which country? That is China. China and its various territories. Okay, question 2. Who is the only person to have achieved a golden slam in tennis by winning all 4 Grand Slam singles titles and an Olympic gold medal in the same calendar year? That is Steffi Graf. Steffi Graf is the only person to have won a golden slam. I was going to confirm my answer. I looked it up earlier today. It should be fine. Anyway, yep, good. Okay, question 3 was, who or what is the subject of an iconic photograph taken by Dr. Robert Wilson? It's known as the surgeon's photograph, and it is, the subject was the Loch Ness Monster. It's the photo that you probably think of when you think of the Loch Ness Monster, the sort of snake-like head sticking up out of the water. This photo was considered the primary proof of Nessie's existence for over 60 years, but has since been widely debunked. Okay. What are we up to now? Question 4. Yes, Steffi Graf, definitely the only player to have won the to achieve a golden slam. There you go. She did it in 1988. Good. Just second guessing myself then. Question 4. The New South Wales town of Tarcutta hosts the National Memorial for Truck Drivers. And for a bonus point, why is it located in Tarcutta? Because Tarcutta is almost exactly halfway between Sydney and Melbourne on the Hume Highway, which is a major truck route. And truckies used to regularly stop there anyway as a sort of halfway point, switch drivers or whatever. So in a memorial to all the truck drivers who've been lost on the roads, that's there in Tarcutta. So the answer is truck drivers, and the bonus point is because it's halfway between Sydney and Melbourne. Question 5, which breed of chicken is considered the honorary national chicken breed of Australia? That is the Australorp, Australorp, the Australorp. I'm assuming it's one of the first, breeds developed in Australia. Question 6, which is the largest Australian state or territory by area? Was your spidey sense tingling? Were you thinking, why is James asking this question in round 3? Surely it can't just be Western Australia, the obvious one. You're correct. It's not Western Australia, because Western Australia is 2.6 million square kilometres, but the Australian Antarctic Territory is 5.8 million square kilometres. So the largest Australian state or territory by area is the Australian Antarctic Territory. Question 7. The element with atomic number 99 is named after a great scientist. It is Einsteinium. Named after Albert Einstein. Wasn't discovered by him. He was more of a physicist than a chemist. But it's Einsteinium. It is silver-colored, extremely radioactive, and highly toxic. But the answer is Einsteinium. Question 8. The New Hebrides was the colonial name for an island group. What is that island group now called? It is Vanuatu. I guess like a lot of places, they cast off their colonial name and chose a local name. So it's Vanuatu. Question 9. An earthquake that measures 8 on the Richter scale is how much more powerful than one that measures only 4 using the most common local magnitude Richter scale? It is 10,000 times as powerful. So the Richter scale, or the local magnitude Richter scale, is a base 10 logarithmic scale. So essentially, you add a 0 for every increase of 1 rating. So from 4 to 8, you add 4 ratings. So you add 4 zeros, it's 10,000 times as much. Pierrot, we haven't even got to the final answers yet, and Pierrot has already claimed a new personal best of 0 points in round 3. Question 10, which 3 actors or actresses appeared in every episode of the TV show Cheers? I'll be pretty impressed if you got this. The easy one was Ted Danson, who plays Sam, the main bartender guy. Possibly also relatively easy was George Wendt, who plays Norm, if you remember him from every episode. He was originally just going to be a one episode character who just shouts beer at one point, but he was so good at that role that they made him appear in every episode. And the last actor or actress who appears in every episode is Rhea Perlman, who played Carla, the grumpy woman. So the 3 answers are Rhea Perlman, George Wendt, that's W-E-N-D-T, and Ted Danson for the 3 points. Okay, how did you go in that one? Pierrot got 0. Related Matt got 1. Okay, maybe it was a tricky round 3. It's always hard to judge the difficulty of these things. Simone got 5. Pretty good. Maybe she's a secret Cheers fan. Narelle and Stephen got 4 each, but different answers for their points. That's interesting. And Davy Jones got 3. Well, it's round 3. It's meant to be tough. As I always say, if you get any points in round 3, you're doing pretty well. Okay. 6 each, says Narelle. That's very good. Simone says she could picture George Wendt, but couldn't remember the name. Peter got 7. You're still doing pretty well, Peter. That's pretty good for round 3. Narelle's inventing her own scoring system. She's giving herself half a point for getting... Oh, I see. No, I get what you're saying. You miscounted it before. I thought you were going to give yourself half a point for getting the character names. But no, good. Makes sense. Yes, 1 point each for the question 10. Okay, let's have our tiebreaker now. Who am I? You can use it as a tiebreaker if you're in a tiebreaker situation. Or if not, just have a go, play along. So I'm going to read out clues about a person this time. And as I go along, if you think you know the answer, have a crack. If you get it right, you win the tiebreak. If you get it wrong, you lose the tiebreak. So you want to be quick, but you want to be correct. You're going to get one go. And if you're not in a tiebreak, just play along. And then after that, we'll have our special challenge answer. Narelle, with me, math's not her strong suit, me neither. Okay, so here we go. Who am I? I was born in 1980. My father was a police officer, and my mother a school canteen worker. After university, I volunteered at a soup kitchen in New York, and then I worked in a policy unit in London for then Prime Minister Tony Blair. I was seconded to the Home Office to help with a review of policing in England and Wales, then spent time as the president of the International Union of Socialist Youth, spending time in Jordan, Israel, Algeria, and China. Why is my phone beeping like crazy? I returned from London ahead of the 2008 election to campaign full-time for a seat in Parliament. I was unsuccessful in the electoral vote, but I entered Parliament as a list MP, becoming the youngest sitting MP. I was promoted to the front bench as the opposition's spokesperson for youth affairs. I stood again in 2011 and 2014, and in 2017 I was elevated to the position of deputy leader of the Labour Party. On the 1st of August, I assumed the office of leader of the opposition, becoming the youngest ever leader of the Labour Party. On the 19th of October, New Zealand First formed a coalition with the Labour Party, making me the next Prime Minister of New Zealand. I was officially sworn in on the 26th of October, and That's the last clue. I think Simone has missed the words New Zealand as I've been going along. I was a bit sneaky. I didn't say it at the beginning because it would have been a dead giveaway. It is, of course, the Prime Minister of New Zealand. I am Jacinda Ardern, Ardern. I am Jacinda Ardern, the Prime Minister of New Zealand. Can we please borrow you for a while, Jacinda? Drat, says Simone. Yeah, I mean, if I said at the beginning I was born in New Zealand in 1980, I think everybody would have got it instantly. So there you go. That's the end of our Who Am I? So the special challenge from last week was to name an English word which has 3 consecutive pairs of double letters. So can anyone think of an English word that has 3 consecutive pairs of double letters? I've got 2 that are basically the same word, slight variations. My phone is beeping like crazy. Let's see what's going on. Maybe something exciting is happening on Facebook. No, I don't know why my phone's beeping like crazy. Okay, so if you had the word bookkeeper, Mississippi's not an English word, I think, and they're not consecutive. There's I's between them, Pierrot. So if you had the word bookkeeper, which has B-O-O-K-K-E, so bookkeeper or bookkeeping were the words that I had in mind. If you had any others, then you did pretty well. Whoops, says Pierrot. Didn't quite get the question. Okay, so that brings us to the end of tonight's quiz. Hope you had fun. Like I say, the intention is still to keep doing this for a little while, but I would psychologically prepare yourself for the fact that, like all good things, it has to come to an end at some stage. The death knell for this will probably be when hockey starts up again. Woolloomooloo does have O-L-L-O in it. And does Wollongong? No. But is Woolloomooloo an English word, I would ask you? Although the word bookkeeper is probably originally Germanic or something anyway, so I'll allow it. There's no points for the special challenge, so you can have it. Yeah, so I was just going to say the thing that'll probably make me run out of time. So I work during the day, obviously. I don't really get home until about 7. It takes me an evening to put the round together and then sort of an evening to host it. It's going to be tricky to manage that once hockey starts up again. That's true, Simone. Germanic is one of English's origins. But anyway, for the moment, hockey's not back on. So that's all cool. And I will try and see if I can, wangle it. Because the hosting itself is not such a big deal. It's the putting them around together that's kind of chews up an evening that I probably won't have available, but maybe I can do it another time. Anyway, so here we go. For the moment, full steam ahead. Hope to see you all next week. Tell a friend. Be good to get a few more regulars. It's nice to see the same regulars popping up every time. That's good, but tell a friend about it. Get them to watch the old videos if they like it, and they can tune in live. If you do want to be told about future events, go to the Facebook page, Virtual Aussie Pub Quiz, or just tune in a bit before 7:30 on a Tuesday night. No worries. Thank you all for listening. Well, watching, tuning in. Hope you had fun. I had fun hosting it. Well done if you got the tricky questions. And I guess I'll see you all, or you'll see me, and I'll chat with you all next week. Bye. Where's my mouse gone? There it is. Let's try that again. Bye.